Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new series we're hosting called Money Smart Teens. My name is Marcy Nelson, and I am the head of youth services for the Livingston Parish Library. This video series is based on the high school financial planning program created by the National Endowment for Financial Education and in partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and America's Credit Unions. This series is designed for students age 12 and up and will be divided into 6 modules. Each module has a corresponding workbook that can be picked up for free at any of the 5 branches of the Livingston Parish Library. Once the 6 workbooks are completed, your child or student can bring these workbooks into their library branch and receive an official certificate of completion from the National Endowment for Financial Education itself. Because we have limited supply, if you are a teacher, we ask that you visit the official site at www.hsfpp.org to order workbooks and certificates for your classroom. It's super easy and it's totally free. Have your students follow along with these videos and the courses will practically teach themselves. Welcome to Module 1. This module is called Money Management, Control Your Cash Flow. This module has 5 lessons with multiple exercises in the workbook. We are going to cover all 5 lessons in this video, but feel free to pace yourself and come back as you complete one lesson at a time. Let's get started. Let's talk about money habits. The goal for this lesson is to get you thinking about your own spending and saving habits. We will define your values and how they affect those habits. Overall, we're going to explore how all of these factors can impact your finances, both in the present and the future. To get an idea of what different spending habits might look like, visit spinster.org and check out the videos they feature. As you're watching these videos, think about what the spending habit is, if that habit is sensible or unwise, and why, how much this habit can cost over time, how else that money could be spent, and would you consider this form of spending a waste of money? Now that you have a clear view of how spending habits can vary from person to person, let's look over a list of questions you should have in mind for yourself. How are your spending habits working for you? What are your good and bad spending habits? What influences how you spend your money? Once you've taken time to think about these questions as we work through this lesson, you can take the things you've learned about yourself and develop a personal goal for your own spending habits. To stay on track, you will write a personal money motto to help guide in meeting that goal. Let's meet Michael and Selena. Michael is a high school senior who lives with his mom and 2 sisters. Since his mom's work hours were cut a few months ago, he's pretty much been on his own money-wise. He worked 2 jobs last summer to pay cash for a reliable used car, so he doesn't have a car payment. He's back to only 1 job now that school has started again, and he's struggling to cover his expenses plus save for college, which he hopes to enter next year. Selena is a freshman who lives with her parents. She loves to shop with her friends, and she earns a little money from occasional babysitting and pet sitting jobs, but she mostly relies on her parents for money as she needs it. Michael and Selena will be joining us along our journey as we talk about money and how to make the most of your dollars so you can avoid financial stress. Right now, your money habits may not seem like a big deal, but good habits can help you have self-control as you plan to achieve your goals, and bad habits may lead you somewhere you really don't want to go. The closer you get to being out on your own, the more you need to have control of your decisions and, as a result, your actions. Thinking about your money habits, you need to get a clear picture on which ones are sensible and which ones are unwise. For example, stopping for fast food on the way home from school every day versus putting spare change in a jar every night. What do your money habits look like? The problem with unwise habits is the short and long-term impact they have on your life. Say you're Selena and you spend $3 on iced coffee after school every day. Assuming you skip them on the weekends, that's $3 a day for 5 days a week. How much money is that spent in a week? How much money is that in a school year? $3 may not sound like much, but at $15 total per week, that money can really add up. If she goes to school 180 days in a school year, Selena has spent a grand total of $540 on iced coffee. And what does she really have to show for it? What could she have spent that money on instead? It's not that spending money on iced coffee is necessarily bad. It's okay to have things you enjoy in life. The question is, could you enjoy certain things less frequently in order to afford other things you would enjoy even more in your life and for longer term? When spending money, you need to evaluate the consequences of that spending. How could your current spending affect your future spending options? In order to get the whole picture of your spending habits, you first need to know if what you're buying is a want or a need. Needs are things that are essential to your health and safety. Things like water, food, shelter. Some items may not be a need without certain factors. Transportation, for example. If you have to have transportation to get you to work so that you can make money to pay your bills, then transportation is a need. Then there are wants. Wants make life more fun or interesting, but you really can get by without them. Items like music, snowboards, ice cream, even air conditioning could be considered a want. Though, here in the heat of Louisiana, we'll probably move this over to the need column because temperatures really can get dangerously high here. Much like the transportation example, this is one item that, due to other factors, has moved from one category to the other. What other items in your life would you call a need? What would you list as a want? Let's revisit our friend Michael. Michael was excited about getting a raise at his job. He spots a new jacket at the mall that he really likes. Considering his new raise, Michael thinks, why not? A few days later, his friend reminds him about an upcoming concert they plan to attend together. Because Michael bought the jacket, Michael no longer has the money for the concert. When he mentions his dilemma to his mother, she asks him if the jacket was a want or a need. Michael admits that he wanted the new jacket, but he didn't need it. Michael could have avoided the situation if he would have thought things out before he made the impulsive purchase. You should always consider these things. Do I need or want this? If I don't need it, why do I want it? Exactly when will I use or wear this? Can I find it for less somewhere else? What will I have to give up or put off if I buy this now? Taking the time to put things in perspective for yourself can help you avoid making bad spending decisions. Here's a fun thought. If all of your bills were paid and you found an extra $100, what would you spend it on? Sometimes the decision about whether something is a need or a want depends on your values. Our values are the ideas or beliefs that are most important or meaningful to us. You probably don't realize it, but all of your thoughts, decisions, and actions reflect what you value and how much you value it. Because many influences shape what we value, everyone's set of values is different. For example, Financial security is a basic need everyone has, but what that means is different for each of us. Selena has financial security from her parents right now, but she worries about what she'll do when they stop helping her out. She has decided she needs to save money so that she can continue to have financial security after graduation. Michael's steady part-time job helps him feel more financially secure now, but he still stresses about money. Because Michael values independence, he believes getting a higher paying job will help him to not have to rely on anyone else after graduation. Both students have different financial security now. Both have different spending habits, and both have different goals for their financial futures. Using the tactics in this lesson, and in the lessons to come, both students can become better equipped to stay on track and meet their future goals. Take the challenge. In 30 words or less, write your own catchy personal money motto. This is a rule you can live by that will inspire you to stick to sensible spending habits that match your values. Let's jump into Lesson 2 of this module. This lesson focuses on setting SMART goals. Today, we're going to help you figure out a plan to achieve your personal financial goals for your future. Let's think about possible spending situations that are specific to teens. In what situations might a teen spend more than $100? This semester? In the next 12 months? Or more than a year from now? If you were giving a birthday party for your friend, would you just throw it all together at the last minute? Of course not. Some spending requires proper planning over longer periods of time. By determining a goal, it is easier to decipher what steps need to be taken to properly reach that goal with as little financial sacrifice as possible. Many people spend, and then wonder why they don't have enough money when it's time to pay necessary bills, or why they never have the money for the things they really want. If you set clear goals, create plans to achieve them, and follow those plans faithfully, you can be happier with your financial security and overall be less stressed. Today, we will answer these questions. How can your personal goals be achieved through money goals? How do you write an effective financial goal? How do you prioritize actions while working to achieve several goals at the same time? Money can't buy happiness, but it does play a big role in helping you to achieve what is most important to you. By figuring out what you need to make your personal goals a reality and setting financial goals to get you there, you'll be on your way to enjoying those things in no time. You'll be able to use what you learned today to write financial goals for big ticket items you want for your future. Remember our friends Michael and Selena? Well, Selena mentions to her older brother that she wants to save money before she graduates from high school. When he asks her how much, she doesn't have a solid answer. Then there's Michael. When Michael tells a coworker about needing new tires, he's shocked to learn that a full set of tires will cost him around $500. Selena and Michael both realize it's time to get smart about their goals. When trying to get smart about your financial goals, you need to make sure these goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. The SMART acronym is basically a checklist for creating turbocharged goals that will help guide you to success. When determining if a goal is specific, ask yourself these questions. What exactly needs to be accomplished? Who else will be involved? Where will this take place? Why do I want to accomplish this goal? For example, Michael needs to replace all 4 tires on his car because the treads are worn out on them. When determining if a goal is measurable, ask yourself these questions. How will I know I have succeeded? How much change needs to occur? And how many actions will it take? For example, Michael needs to have tires on his car with treads that provide good traction when driving in the snow and rainy conditions. He needs to find out how much the new tires will cost, save the money to buy the tires, and schedule an appointment to replace the tires. When determining if a goal is attainable, ask yourself these questions. Do I have or can I get the resources needed to achieve the goal? Is the goal a reasonable stretch for me? It should be neither out of reach or too easy. Are the actions I plan to take likely to bring success? Michael has money saved and is also working, so he can pay for the new tires. He also can compare prices at 3 businesses near his house to ensure he gets the best deal possible. When determining if a goal is relevant, ask yourself these questions. Is it a worthwhile goal for me right now? Is it meaningful to me? Will it delay or prevent me from achieving a more important goal? Am I willing to commit to achieving this goal? Michael wants to replace his current worn out tires for new tires because this will improve the fuel efficiency of his vehicle and reduce the risk of having a flat tire at an inconvenient time. Remember, Michael has a job, so dependable transportation is a need for him. When determining if a goal is time-bound, you should ask yourself these questions. What is the deadline for reaching the goal? When do I need to take action? And what can I do today? Michael wants to replace his tires soon, preferably by the end of next month. By the end of this week, he will request 3 quotes to compare tire prices. Once he does his research, he'll have a better grasp on the sort of timeline this goal will really have. Creating SMART goals will help set you up for success. Can you tell what SMART criteria are missing from these goals? Selena wants to save $200 for a trip to the outlet mall. She wants to buy a new MP3 player. Michael wants to save money for college next year. However, he also wants to buy a new computer in January. What's wrong with each of these goals? How do you recommend improvement so they are SMART? Deciding that you want something and buying it right away is called instant gratification. You saw how well that worked for Michael when he bought the new jacket that he didn't need. You might even know from your own experience how buying on impulse can get you into trouble. This is why it is important to implement the SMART goals method into your financial habits sooner rather than later. We usually classify goals into one of 3 categories: short term, up to 3 months, medium, 3 months to a year, and long term, more than a year. These varying measures of goals are all delayed gratification. The only difference is how long the delay is. The further away your goal is, the more commitment and patience it will take to reach it. Breaking up longer-term goals into shorter ones can help keep you on track and motivated along the way. In order to prioritize your goals, we will use a scale rating. On a scale of 1, not at all, to 5, extremely, how important is achieving this goal to me? If you can't rate a goal with at least a 3, think about whether that's really a goal you need to set for yourself. Sometimes, a goal is a matter of personal responsibility. No one has ever said they are excited about saving to pay their taxes. But millions of Americans put money aside every year to do just that, because it's a citizen's responsibility and they value staying out of trouble with the IRS. If you're stuck with a goal you're not thrilled about, figure out what there is about that goal that is important to you. Then, rewrite your goal to include that particular feature. On page 19 of your workbook, you'll find Challenge 1A. Take what you've learned about SMART goals and create 3 of your own. Remember, these goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant to your life, and time-bound. Now on to Lesson 3 of this module. This lesson will focus on the decision-making side of financial planning. Today, you will practice strategies to help you be mindful about major spending decisions. Making decisions about money can be hard. Sometimes you have to sacrifice what you want to achieve now for what you really need but can't have until later. And when you can't count on a steady income stream, making decisions about money can be even harder. All you can do is make the best decisions you can with the information you have at the time. There's a simple process to help you make the best possible decision. In fact, you may already be using it without being aware of it. Once you knowingly put that process into use, you'll find it even easier to make better decisions. In this day and age, there are so many websites and phone applications that help us work through the decision-making process more efficiently. How many apps can you think of that help you shop smarter? What other ways do you save money or check the quality of products when you're shopping? Today, we will answer these questions. What influences my spending decisions? What strategies help me take control of my spending? How does a criterion-based decision-making process work? You will use what you learned today to make a deliberate spending decision for a major purchase. While there are several resources out there to help us make smarter spending moves, there are also those designed to simply make us spend more money even if we don't need to. Marketing to loyal customers is a business strategy used by companies all over the world to help push consumers to make unnecessary spending decisions so that they can maintain profit margins. Do you know of any customer loyalty programs? Perhaps you've used a few. Have you ever spent more money than you planned just to earn points or rewards in such a program? It's important to be aware of these marketing strategies and to not confuse them with the more helpful and honest resources out there that could actually assist us in better spending habits. Now for the action. Let's walk through the decide process using a fairly easy example. It's time for Selena to upgrade her cell phone, but how does she decide on upgrades? Selena defines her goal. What does she want to achieve? She wants to upgrade a new cell phone this week and spend less than $100. Then she establishes her criteria. What are the features she absolutely must have? Selena knows it needs to be on the same wireless network she uses now, that she wants it to have a camera, be blue, and be able to download a lot of apps. Selena then needs to choose from her options. After eliminating a bunch of models, she finds 3 that she likes. Selena identifies the pros and cons of each remaining option. The blue one has the fewest apps available, and of the other 2, the least expensive option actually has the best consumer rating. Selena decides that the less expensive option with higher rating is the best option, despite the color not being blue. Finally, Selena evaluates her results. Overall, giving up the color preference for a better phone at a great price was well worth it. One decision will spark a chain of additional decisions to be made. For Selena and her new cell phone, the other decisions might include where to buy it and which accessories to get. For each new decision, you simply start the decide process all over again. Because of Selena's responsible and successful decision on a new phone for herself, Her parents ask her to research options for a family cell phone plan to cover all 4 family members. Her older brother attends an in-state college. He has agreed to contribute $30 a month to the cost of the family plan if he can get an unlimited talk and text along with the data plan. Now it's your turn. Use the decide steps to help Selena select a cell phone plan for her family. For more practice, try another scenario. Use the decide steps to select a car for your family or your own transportation. Remember the old saying, practice makes perfect. Now let's get personal. On page 21 of your workbook, you will find Challenge 1B. Use the decide strategy for a decision you're facing. You may want to ask your friends and family for their input. Asking for help can assure you consider everything. If you need more help, you can visit www.hsfpp.org to download a guide to help you decide. That brings us now to Lesson 4 of Module 1. Lesson 4 focuses on our spending plan. Today, you will create a plan customized to help guide your spending habits from here on out. You've analyzed what you've been spending money on and set some SMART goals to strive for. Your next step is to create the roadmap that will guide you to your success. Let's do some prep work. Take a few minutes to think of ways businesses use sales and marketing tactics to entice shoppers to buy things. Remember the customer loyalty programs we discussed in the last lesson? This is one example of a marketing tactic. What are some more? Here are a few questions to really get you thinking. What is in the store window to get you to walk in? What techniques are used to get you into the door? What is the first thing you see when you walk into the store? Are you ever tempted to buy it? What do you have to walk past in order to get to the object you want to buy? Did you pick anything up on the way? When standing in line at the register, have you ever picked up anything on display to buy? When you get your item, do you receive any coupons or flyers that will encourage you to come back? Do they have expiration dates? Now that you've thought about these questions and how they apply to your experiences, can you think of any more marketing techniques on your own? Today's lesson will help you answer a few more questions about yourself and how a spending plan may benefit you. How can a spending plan help me better manage my spending habits? What is a spending plan? How do I use a spending plan? Planning ahead on how to spend money can help reduce the possibility of overspending or buying something that isn't wanted later. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to outline a spending plan that is reasonable for your current situation. Without a budget, you have no idea if you're getting closer to your goals, or even if it's likely that you'll ever reach them. You're more likely to make random purchases of things you don't really want or need. You can end up kicking yourself when you don't have the money for something important, and you might even end up going into debt to cover necessary and/or unexpected expenses. Let's do some research. Conduct a quick online search to estimate the repair or replacement costs of one or more of these whoops situations. Breaking a flat screen TV, breaking a laptop, hardware, not software, downloading a virus on your computer, a fender bender on the road, a flat tire, a fractured or broken bone, a lost cell phone, a lost iPod, or you run out of gas and you're unable to walk to a gas station, so you need an auto service company to assist you. If you had to cover at least one of these costs with what money you had on hand right now, would you be able to do it? Real-world issues happen every day. These are just a few examples of how unexpected costs might impact your ability to meet other spending obligations. Your spending plan is your roadmap for success. It should detail exactly how you're going to use your money to pay for the things you want and need. An effective spending plan not only multiplies your chances of success, it also helps make the journey faster and easier. In order to be successful, you must establish priorities and plan in advance so that you can make progress to achieve goals, avoid traps and buyer's remorse, deal with unexpected costly events, have money on hand when you need it, and put yourself in control of how your money is used. Let's get back to our two friends, Michael and Selena. Michael regularly makes about $544 a month from his part-time job and the occasional money gifts, while Selena fluctuates a lot more from occasional jobs, gifts, and a small allowance. She averages approximately $160 a month. Looking at this table, can Michael and Selena cover their respective expenses? When building a spending plan, it is important to evaluate the following. What are the goals? How long will the plan be used? How much income is available? What are the anticipated expenses? And how does the plan need to be adjusted? Think of the money you receive, your income, as one side of a seesaw. Income can consist of any of the following: paychecks from work, allowance, payments for odd jobs such as babysitting or yard work, a gift card or cash for your birthday, Social Security, disability or unemployment benefits, proceeds from selling items you no longer need, or interest earned on a bank account. Without a job, income can be unsteady, and that can make financial predictions even harder. Some good tips for predicting your income are to stick to what you know and be conservative. What types of income do you frequently have, and how much does each average out to? When estimating your income, always aim lower rather than higher, and don't count on windfalls or the much rarer occasional forms of income. Now, let's talk about the other side of the seesaw. Expenses are what you spend money on. Fixed expenses are known regular payments such as monthly internet or phone bills. Variable expenses are known but are irregular such as gas or groceries. Periodic expenses are known but only occur occasionally such as school fees. Some tips to help you estimate your expenses are to use averages for the variable expenses. You can also split periodic expenses into chunks over time. For example, plan to set aside $100 a month to pay your annual $1,200 car insurance premium. Often, your bigger financial goals will involve things you can't afford to pay for all at once. The very first thing you should do when you receive money is to set aside a specific amount for your goals. This is known as paying yourself first. Temporarily deposit the amount where you will not be tempted to spend the money on something other than your goals. It's like you never even had the money, so you won't really miss it. You can avoid taking on debt by saving in advance rather than borrowing later. Reading big financial goals is much easier when you save regularly, even in small amounts. Every time you pay yourself first, you have more money that can accrue interest and grow while you wait, which means more money to spend on important things later. When working on a budget, adjustments have to be made. The ideal situation puts you spending less than your means. Imagine filling up a bucket with rocks. You start with the little pebbles, then try to place the larger ones on top. But before you get all of those in your bucket, it's full. You start over and start with big rocks first, followed by pebbles. As you pour in the pebbles over the larger rocks, they filter into the cracks, filling up the available space. This is like the approach you must take with your money. Start with your fixed expenses, big rocks, then work on your variable expenses, pebbles, to fill in the space until there's no more room. When you fill up your bucket and you still have more pebbles, well, you either have to stop pouring or scoop some out to fit your bucket. The process helps you weed out any unnecessary expenses to ensure that your income remains greater than your expenses so that you can have money left over to pay yourself and build a savings, and also to cover any unforeseen necessary expenses that may crop up. Let's make a new friend and see if we can help them out. Maya is a senior in high school who works part-time, earning $8 an hour for approximately 25 hours a week. 30% of her pay is deducted for taxes. She also earns $15 in interest on her savings account each month. She is expected to pay her car loan at $235 a month, as well as a few other bills including $35 to $45 on her cell phone, $40 to $60 on gas, and $50 on car insurance. Help her set up a spending plan to cover her expenses and also allow room to save money for a trip that will cost $1,000 and college tuition. She's already put aside $7,000 so far. Answer the following questions to help guide the task. What are Maya's goals? How much is her income? What are her fixed expenses? How should she adjust her variable expenses? Without a spending plan, you may come up short on money before the next paycheck or allowance payment. You're more likely to not reach long-term goals. You will have added stress if you're struggling to keep up with payments. You may need to give up something you planned if money needs to be used for any unexpected emergencies. You could even be reduced to giving up your independence if you need to rely on others to help you financially. These 6 steps are all it takes to plot your path to money mastery. Decide the time frame for tracking your income and expenses. List your income. Predict your expenses. Subtract your total expenses from your total income. Implement your plan. And finally, review and adjust as needed. On page 31 of the workbook, you will find Challenge 1C. Do you have to pay for regular expenses every month, a big purchase, or an upcoming event? Review your goals and spending. Write up a spending plan so you can pay for the things you need and want. You can find examples and forms online at www.hsfpp.org. The key is to update your plan regularly to keep pace with your changing income, goals, and habits over time. Welcome to Lesson 5, the final lesson in Module 1. Once you've developed your plan, you're ready to put it into practice. The basics of maximizing your money comes down to cash flow. The money flowing into your pockets as income and flowing out as expenses and debt. Today, you will figure out a way to maintain a positive cash flow. It does not matter who you are or how much money you have. Maintaining a balanced cash flow is crucial. All the planning in the world is useless unless you are committed to being responsible with your money. Today we will answer the following questions. How can I plug my spending leaks? What can I do to stick to my spending plan? How can I be prepared for unexpected money events. You will use what you learned today to apply strategies to control your spending. It is important to keep track of your plan to know if it is working. You need to be able to compare your actual income with anticipated income and compare your actual spending with planned spending. Too much variance in the wrong direction on either of these, and you may find yourself deeply in the negative. Using a spending log is the best early warning system to help you catch issues in either of these areas. Creating an emergency fund is also a great safeguard for the unexpected. The pay yourself first method we learned in Lesson 4 is a successful form of this. You can also seek accountability and expertise by sharing your plan with others. Sometimes just knowing someone else is aware of your plan is effective enough to keep you from straying. It's also good to consult with others who have more financial experience than yourself. You also must be able and willing to make adjustments such as finding ways to increase your income, decrease your expenses, or, more often than not, a combination of both. Having a system to manage and track your money can help you implement either of these methods. Remember the bucket of rocks? When you have too many expenses, one way to make them fit is to simply get a bigger bucket. What we mean here is find more income. The most common way to increase your income is to get a job. If you already have a job, you can try to find a better paying one, or ask for a raise or more hours. Even busy individuals can find ways to make extra cash. You can get crafty and maybe sell handmade items. You could reach out to help your neighbors by babysitting or mowing lawns. You could share your expertise and tutor after school. You could also share your tech savvy and troubleshoot a few simple solutions for others. You could ask your parents for more chores to increase your allowance. And in this day and age, you could even start your own internet business. The possibilities are many. Ideally, your income bucket is built to hold all of your expenses. Unfortunately, most people have buckets with holes. Money constantly seeps out so that the bucket is empty when that money is really needed. Pay attention to your money leaks. Slow and steady drips, laziness penalties, needless things, carelessness fines, pity purchases, or impulsive buys. Even the smallest leak can really add up over time. So who is really in control here? Do you control your cash flow, or does your cash flow control you? After looking at your own spending, do you notice any leaks in your bucket? Don't be ashamed if you do. Most everyone does or has contributed to their own leaky bucket. The important thing is to face reality, accept responsibility, and practice restraint moving forward. If you can't undo what you did, don't beat yourself up about it. Everyone slips up sometimes. Just plug the leak and try your best not to make the same mistake again. Earlier, we mentioned tracking your money. There are several methods you can use to accomplish this. Finding a system that is convenient for you will increase your likelihood of success. You could utilize an envelope system, keep a weekly receipt tally, maintain a checking account register, use a spreadsheet, or personal finance software or app. Find what works for you. Don't forget to implement the stop, drop, and think before you buy method. Before you buy, ask yourself these simple questions. Do I need it or want it? If I don't need it, why do I want it? Exactly when will I use or wear it? Could I find it for less somewhere else? And what will I have to give up or put off by buying this now? Remember, before you pay, make sure you calculate every possible expense. Keep an eye out for different prices in the store and online. Make sure you remember to factor in expenses such as shipping and sales tax. Find out about any other possible additional costs you will have to make with the purchase. Research product reviews and uncover any potential risks, hazards, or defects before you buy. And always be sure to get clarification on the return and repair policies, no matter what. Here's some additional practice. What are some Green Reaper scenarios you may encounter in your life? These are realistic scenarios based on your experiences or that could happen to you with accurate estimates of cost. For example, you checked out a movie from the library but forgot to return it 6 days ago when it was due. Now you owe the library $12 in late fees. Or, thanks to the box of candy you devoured on Valentine's Day, you now need to have 2 cavities filled at $39.60 per tooth with insurance. What Green Reaper scenarios can you come up with? It's important to remember that when life changes, so must the plan. Say you get a job that pays more, or, on the other hand, your hours get cut. What if you get laid off or fired? Maybe your bus fare increases, or, best of all, say you reach your goals. Now what? As things come and go, you need to make sure your spending plan is updated to match the accurate cash flow of your life. Here's our friend Michael again. He's now working more hours in the summer and already bought the tires from his previous spending goal. How can you change Michael's plan to better serve his future spending? Don't forget that he plans to attend college in the fall. Shouldn't we factor in this financial goal in order for Michael to focus his savings? Look at page 39 of your workbook. Challenge 1D asks you to reflect on your own money management habits. Think about how well you're managing your money now. What do you do well? What can be improved? How will you share what you have learned with others? The habits you have now will likely continue as you get older. The sooner you replace poor money management habits with sensible habits, the better off you will be when you become financially independent. I hope you enjoyed this first lesson in money management. Remember, you can pick up workbooks to follow along in these lessons at either of the 5 branches of the Livingston Parish Library. Join us again next week for Lesson 2, which will focus on borrowing savvy. As always, we hope to see you again at your Livingston Parish Library.